And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMV with the Lopez family. Special thanks to Carlos Lopez, my good friend who makes it all happen, and his dad who passed away in 2011. He's honored, he's venerated, and he's never forgotten. Today, part of the show is going to be with two of the most influential people on the county Commissioner's Court, and that will be Joey Gonzalez. He's here with us today, and Lloyd Neal will be joining us later. But I wanted to start off first by talking about an issue that's very near and dear to my heart and those people on the west and the north side, which is the proposed closing of Spawn Memorial. I know a lot of people were on either side of the issue. It's hotly contested. There were 6 meetings about it, or more discussion. And we have on Joey Gonzalez, who is controversial right now. He came back from a good trip, but because of his vote, he wanted to come on because he's a little bit under fire with his constituents, and he wanted to clarify all those issues. And I wanted to clarify them with him too, because we've agreed to disagree on some things and agree on most things. So welcome, Commissioner. You know, you're always a guest here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Es tu casa. Look, first of all, I want to say thank you for all the service you've done. You know, sometimes I feel like the public servants are like people say, well, thank you for the 30, 40 years of devotion, but what have you done for me today?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a lot of heat about the way you voted. Some people even said, I can't believe he didn't back up the West Side. How do you respond to those people that are angry about you voting for the closure memorial?
Well, you know, Joe, they have a right to feel whatever they want to feel, and you know, and I have a right to vote, the way I should vote. You know.
Okay.
But you know, I grew up in the West Side. I grew up in the Hot Wiggins projects, and I grew up there by Memorial, and you know, of course, I was born in Memorial, and you know, and I had my appendix taken out at Memorial, so I mean, yeah, I have history there too. But it's not about buildings. It's not about histories. It's about services that we need to provide to the poor, you know, services, you know, and it's about helping those people that need the help, you know. I went through 6 of the meetings, the town hall meetings they had, plus 2 group meetings that they had.
Right.
And no, and I heard them out, and I heard that, you know, some didn't agree with what I had to say, and I didn't agree with what they had to say, and you know, everybody has their own opinions, you know, and in reality, you know, I know people are saying, why are we closing Memorial? Why are we doing this? Why, you know, well, we're at the crossroads right now that if we don't do something now, Spawn says, you know what, in 8 years we're out of here. Who's going to be holding that building to renew, to upgrade it, to demolish it if we have to and build a new hospital? Who's going to do that? The hospital district? Us?
Well, let me ask you this. Isn't it true that Spawn took on that responsibility, and many people feel that they purposely, and I know that you're not into conspiracy theories, but some people said, look, they took away service from there slowly. They closed down some stuff, the burn unit, things like that. Other services were closed. A lot of the OB was closed. And then it's like a house they didn't keep up. And then they said, well, look, it's old and dilapidated. Many people feel that they purposely allowed it to go into disarray so they could say later, we're out of there.
Well, I don't think it was really Spawn made it go disarray. The hospital district did a good job of maintaining it, did a good job of doing what they could do to maintain it.
Led by Johnny Hipp.
By Johnny Hipp. And there was a lot of upgrade done, you know, whatever they could do. The upgrades done, there were cosmetic upgrades done, to make it look good inside, to make it look good outside, you know. And what we're talking about here is not the cosmetic stuff. And we talk about the major, serious upgrades like the air conditioning units, like the air conditioning wiring, the plumbing, the electrical, all these things that are they're in the basement where the engineer said, man, you know, this is ready to go any time. You know, we've been fortunate that nothing has come down. You know, so, and I made a financial decision, you know, for the poor, for the indigent, for the other people that I think that we're missing the boat here. I did not want the taxpayers to take on the burden. That was one of my things of us having to have a building, and now what do we do with it? The county is not in the hospital business. There's no way we're going to run a hospital because we can't do not at the taxpayers' expense. The hospital district is not in the hospital business either. We gave them that authority so they could contract with SPON to be able to provide the services. They're not a hospital entity either, you know. So, but you know that was an agreement that we had, and I stand by the people of this community because I think that while SPON is saying we're going to do this, it's up to us to make sure they do things that they say they're going to do. You know, I'm going to be one of those that are going to be monitoring. I'm going to be alongside the hospital district to make sure that the things that are being promised to do are being done.
Let me stop you there. One of the community activists involved, Rene Flores, a colleague of mine, I think that he had a press conference yesterday that was aired, and in fact he said if he gets the petition signatures, I want to see if you go on record. Will you stand with those people on the west side if they get those 18,000 signatures to put it to a referendum whether they want to keep Memorial or not?
Well, I don't know. I can't say yes right now, Joe, or no, because, again, I have to go back. I have to think. I'm still thinking about putting a referendum for what? What if we do put in a referendum? What if it passes? We're talking about 18,000 votes. You put it on there. I think I need to know if it's going to pass or not.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if it passes because the people want it, then it's something we need to go back to the table and look at.
How much taxes, as far as taxes, you keep talking about taxes there. What would it be like, say, if we did keep it open, say if we fixed the guts of it, the electricity, the plumbing, the upkeep there, you know, we're talking, what, over $100 million?
Well, what the engineers said, and I think that was at the meeting they said, the report they gave us, to have to gut the hospital to be able to upgrade it is going to be $600 million. But you can't do it on phases. You have to do all at once. So that means you're going to have to shut down the hospital.
But that was just one engineering company, hired by SPON?
No, I think it was two engineering companies that the engineering company also had somebody else come down. So, and even to demolish it and to rebuild it, you know, it's $400 million. So, you know, we gotta hit hard. Last time that we kept the same rate tax, and some people raised their taxes $5. I mean, everybody was up in arms. The color time.
Nobody likes to pay.
The color time was
taxes.
up in arms.
That's true.
So and just think $5 versus $150.
So you're saying that over, you know, the people would be paying over 30 times a rate hike in taxes if we were to keep the hospital. So in other words, you know, a lot of people are passionate about the issue, number one, that it's a county facility. Many nurses and doctors tell me it will be very difficult to transfer over, and of course they're afraid to speak out because they say that SPON is less than nice to them. Many of them say they have gone to Doctors Regional or HCA hospitals because they say you can build all the beds you want at SPON Shoreline. You can add the 120, 200 beds for Memorial, but if you don't have the nurses to staff it, I mean, you know, in other words, the plan is moving over all of these people, shifting them over. You put a charity facility primarily with they say nonprofit, but it's kind of like putting Ben Taub in Houston together with Methodist Hospital in Houston.
Well,
it's going to be a cultural shakeup, right? So, I mean, and I know that's not, I'm not trying to put you on the hot seat. You're not a hospital administrator either. I mean, you're a commissioner 24/7. But I think that people are frustrated and angry that they really feel that, like Oscar Ortiz said, you know, you know, I can't speak for him, but I heard what he said it was basically they're trying to ram it through. I mean, a lot of people feel that they are ramming this through. Why? What is the rush to get this done?
Well, I think that when you say, and I'm asking you too, because you know you're one of those that always was against it, and
I still am.
And you still are in a certain way, you know, because I think you and I have talked about it.
I think we reached a consensus about taxes.
About taxes, and also consensus about providing health care. You know, I mean, do we want 40 more years of health care, or do you want 4 years of health care?
Well, that's true.
You know, I mean, what do we want?
I don't want my child having to pay huge taxes.
That's right. And the thing is, Joe, here we're going to build a family health center. It's a one-stop shop. It's going to provide all the services in one location area. You got the outpatient clinic, and you're going to have the urgent care 24 hours a day, emergency, minor emergency.
Is it going to be 24 hours a day? How did you get that?
It's part of the agreement.
So you got them to change that?
They have committed to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
24 hours a day, urgent care center, like minor emergency, which will alleviate some of the wait at Spahn Hospital for any kind of minor emergencies. That's a relief that's going to relieve people from waiting at Spahn.
What about your ideas that we've talked about on house calls?
And I think that's something we have to look at, that, we don't want to be people to pay $1,500 for emergency room treatment when they can pay $50 for urgent care centers, and that's the poor we got to take care of, the poor, the indigent, and the middle class, and whatever it is. And I think that we need to look into it a little further, whether it be with Spahn or not or whatever, where we start looking at making house calls. Not the doctors have a program where we start making house calls instead of having them come into the emergency room, where they're going to pay all this money, where we have a component, a program that's going to start making these house calls, doing the visits, and if a person needs to be referred, then the doctor at that time will refer the person to the hospital.
Well, and I think that's where it starts, is that the people don't just show up to an emergency room. They've been sick a while. Right. And when they go blind, or they get on dialysis, or they lose a limb, those are things that could have been prevented in certain ways. But a lot of people don't have health insurance. Right. And their clinic is Memorial when they would show up at the ER.
Well, and it still be the clinic at the Family Health Center. It's not going to change, though. It's going to create more. We'll have the clinic, we have the family center, we have the urgent care, emergency, minor emergency, 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week.
Who's going to do the oversight now if they move that out, right, and they shut down Memorial? We don't have a say anymore. If
the hospital district will still be monitoring it.
Will they be monitoring the transition with trauma and everything to Spahn to their campus?
Yes. That's right.
Okay, and
remember one thing: the trauma level 2 trauma that we have now is we don't have a trauma center right now in Memorial. It's an area dedicated for trauma. We don't have we don't the emergency room and trauma in the same place.
Right.
When you move it to Spahn, it'll be a trauma center apart from the emergency room, and it'll still be a level 2 trauma.
I'm just hoping
and it's not the people, it's not the buildings that treat you, Joe, it's the people that do the services. The people that serve you at Memorial will be the same people going to serve you at the trauma level 2. And by law, they cannot close the trauma center area in Memorial until this other one is built.
I just hope that they keep their promises.
Well, we always hope that of everybody that comes and brings in business to this community, to this county. The refineries come in and promise all these things too, and we keep our fingers crossed that they're going to keep the promises. Other hospitals have done the same thing, and we hope that they do keep the promises. But it's people like the hospital district, like us and you, that we just have to maintain to make sure they are keeping their promises. And in all, I think that as a commissioner, I've always been the voice for the people of this community. For most of the people in this community, because I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the youth, the seniors, the veterans, the elderly. And this is why we're there. It's not a political issue. It's not a political vote. I don't know how it could. I don't even know how it could be a political vote. You're
not even. Thank goodness you don't have an opponent.
I don't have an opponent.
So this wasn't political,
right? But I thought it was the right thing to do. To at this point, I haven't got anybody to come across and give me some sound, realistic solutions to the problem. We talk about it, we gripe about it, and to me, when I hear people talking, it's more like a personal thing. And, in all fairness, I'll guarantee you, you're to get sick tomorrow, and you want to go to the hospital, be honest, where would you go?
If it was trauma?
No. With trauma, I know where everybody goes. I know where, yeah, but where would you go?
I sometimes it's the it's the ambulance service that takes you where you're closest to.
You can tell them where you want to go.
Well, a lot of the time, if you're unstable, they're going to take you to the closest hospital.
I guarantee you, 9 out of 10, people that are complaining will go to Spawn South.
I have a lot.
Spawn Memorial.
As an insider, I'll tell you the ER and the ICU at Memorial and those people are awesome.
I know they are.
And they are.
My wife was there in the trauma center.
And you went to Memorial.
Sure.
Your wife just recently,
Right.
thank God she survived.
And that's
went
why
over
I
there.
think that the
I
same,
believe in Memorial. That's
why the same people are going to serve you at Memorial are going to serve you at Spawn.
I hope so. I hope those nurses stay on.
Dr. Blow, he was there, and he's going to be it over here. So I'm looking at it's the people that provide the services. It's the people, the staff that makes it a level 2. It's not the building. It's the staff.
But if
the
they
equipment.
treat their staff, I hear from insiders
that's
there
something that,
that say they don't provide us with.
We can't force any employer to treat the people different.
As patients, we can if negative things happen.
Well,
ER waits.
We can make recommendations.
Right.
You're right.
You're
But
right.
as far as I can't tell you who to hire for your law firm.
It's true, and the other thing is you can push, but you can't break. Where you say, look, Spawn, you better provide indigent care. We know they don't have to, but they took on that responsibility.
But the other good thing about it, Joe, that I understand again through the agreement, is that is indigent care, whatever it is. If you don't want to go to Spawn Shoreline, you don't have to go to Spawn Shoreline. You can go to Spawn South. You can go to another Spawn hospital. You can go, to another clinic.
But the big banana Spawn Shoreline.
Especially
for heart, stroke center.
Right. Well, because those are your major areas that it's like a trauma. They're major areas where you're going to go.
I just still go back to the same thing. If they had maintained it properly, they used Memorial's license so they could get increased revenues at the other places because it was indigent. They made over $1 billion over that place over a decade.
Who doesn't make money in business?
But what I'm saying is,
you can't sit there and blame.
They changed the terms of the agreement, though. Would you agree with me on that?
Sure.
They changed they flipped the script.
Well, no, they changed to be able to provide some of the services that we're asking for. They came to the table.
But they signed that agreement and they changed the terms as they went along.
I don't know what changed. I don't know what they changed.
Well, they want to get out of having Memorial. And they
that
took away the services little by little in order for them to say, this place is a mess, Come on.
Just like attorneys changing law, they want to do juvenile, then after a while they don't want to do juvenile, they want to do, criminal law. They want to
but I didn't sign a contract. Yeah. If I signed a contract to do juvenile for 20 years, and then I say, well, maybe I don't want to. Let me change the terms.
Joe, would you prefer to go somewhere that you're going to be, the equipment is more updated? The services are more.
But they have state of the art.
State of the art, and this is why I think that.
I don't know. We agree to disagree.
And I'm glad you said state of the art because I think that the Hector P. Garcia Memorial Family Health Center will be the state of the art of that community.
I don't want to fight with these guys all the time. Let's just lay our cards on the table. I want solutions too.
Sure,
I don't want to just hurl rocks and epithets and things at Christus because I used to work for them for a decade. Mm-hmm. I was honored to work there. Things have changed. Healthcare has changed. We have to move forward.
And it keeps changing.
And it keeps changing. We have to adapt.
Technology keeps changing, and for them to upgrade technology at Memorial Hospital is going to be harder than.
But you know what? I'll tell you what. As a healthcare provider, you can have all the bells and whistles, and you can have that. If you don't have nurses that care,
right.
If you don't have the sufficient staff, if you don't have doctors that are dedicated, that makes all the difference. And you can have all the bells and whistles you want. If you have policemen with all the state-of-the-art stuff, but they're abusive or there's not enough of them, what good is it going to do the community? And that's what I'm saying is that let's keep them honest. The reason that I brought up all this dialogue is we demand this.
And I agree. We should keep them honest. We should, it's just why I'm saying we need to monitor alongside the hospital district.
I know people are angry with how you voted, but it was one vote out of how many? Hundreds of votes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I was saying, well, maybe he should have voted along with, but it's like when we trust in you as an official, I'm not there to say vote this way, vote that way, because you told me a long time ago, no one pulls your strings.
Right.
Okay.
Well, nobody pulls my string, and people have, and you're right. What you said a while ago, they can forget the 99 times you voted the right way, but the one
What
time,
did you do for me today?
Yeah,
This morning.
But and I understand that too. And it doesn't make me angry. It doesn't make me. But I still stand my ground that it was not I'm not nobody's puppet there. I mean, I'm the people, and I'm there for the people. I guess you can kill people's puppet, maybe so. I don't know. But when I voice, and when I vote, it's what's best for this community. It's not best for what's a Democrat or Republican.
In other words, this vote wasn't a vote for Spawn; it was a vote for the taxpayer.
The taxpayers, the poor, the youth, the veterans, the elderly. I'm looking at all the services that are going to be provided in a one area, Joe, in a one-stop shop, that they don't have to go out looking for. When I got to get an X-ray, you got to go here. You're going to go to the lab, now you're going to go here. Now you're going to go. Well, you know what? Maybe you need social services to take care of your diabetes. You're going to go. So everything's there.
Well, I certainly hope that they.
And I think that traffic will help whatever small business or.
I mean, we're going to have to build. We're going to have to pay for the infrastructure, the road, the sewage, everything when it opens up.
That's right.
So for them to say entirely we're paying for everything, simply not true.
Well,
we're having to pay for
yeah, but
roads.
we do that for every business. We do that for. Let's face it. Look what we did for HEB.
What about like Cafe Maya? What about the
HEB?
doctors around there, like Dr.
Cafe
Zamora,
Maya
Cafe Maya?
will probably have more people coming into there because the people that go to the health center are not going to be committed to the hospital. They're going to be able to come and go.
Guys, I'm trying my best here. I've had him under cross-examination for a while. He's not breaking.
I mean,
think he's standing by his vote.
McDonald's will be happy that we're not committing people there. They're going to go to McDonald's.
I mean, no lo sacas de ahí, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well, I respect your vote. We're bringing on Judge Neal now, but any last words to the voters out there?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that, I thought about it hard too, and
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of people. And
Well, you went to the Vatican.
I went to the Vatican.
And you prayed about it over there.
And I tell you what, and I was at the Vatican. I just came back Sunday.
Thank you so much for bringing that for my wife, for her sister that passed. You brought the blessings from the Pope, those gifts. We'll never forget it.
And I
hate your vote, but I like your gift.
I had the Lord just make me do the right thing, Lord, for the right reasons. And Joe, I feel like whether people might not agree with me, I think that in the long run they'll probably come back and say, you know what, you were right.
Well, it's like when you used to have the once in a while the parent arrested or fined because of, and then they came back and thanked
I was the
you.
most horrible judge in the world.
But then they came back when their children graduated and said thanks.
Yeah.
So I guess that's about leadership. Sometimes people forget that it's you literally sweat bullets when you make a decision about raising taxes, shutting down a facility that you were born at, and that you had an appendectomy, that your life was saved there.
We lowered the taxes this year 2.5 cents, and I haven't had nobody call me.
Nobody has called to thank him about the 2.5 cents.
Thank you for lowering the 2.5 cents. And that's understandable, and I don't expect that.
Thankless job, and then we're beating you up on TV in front of 200,000 people. Pobrecito hombre, Chihuahua.
Make sure you get a rubber bed. Don't get the wood bed.
Well, we're gonna get a punching bag with your face on it, and then get everybody a shot on the west side to hit you.
Take your shot.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a brief break. Thank you, Commissioner, as always, man.
Thank you.
You're a good man, and we can't always agree, but even then, we always reach a consensus. And I agree with you on one point. I don't want the poor having huge taxes. They're already burdened enough.
But I think the most important, Joe, we need to look seriously at looking at home visits, looking at getting away from people having to come to the emergency room, getting away from people having to come to even to the urgent care.
Well, I need we need doctors and nurse practitioners to call me up, please, and tell me if you want to.
And we're looking at that now, so we and I need to sit down and talk about it. I'm for it. We need to push it. It'll say it's a win-win situation for everybody, the patients, the veterans, wherever you are. I think it can work.
Well, and let me tell you, I think it's an excellent idea. I also like what you're pushing for World Diabetes Awareness, November 14th. Yeah. What do you think about painting the Harbor Bridge, lighting it up blue?
I think it'd be nice to have cities light it up blue, and then everybody wear blue. And we have, instead of red ribbons for Red Ribbon Week, we have blue ribbons for Diabetes Month. And I think it's an awareness again. And not that you said awareness, and I'm not pushing going back to the health center. But there's going to be a social service program there, an educational program there for diabetes and for heart disease and for nutrition, right there at the center.
So, I mean, maybe that will, and I'd like to see children screened in their teens, 20s, 30s.
They have to.
And that way they don't go blind when they're 30.
Right. That's right.
So, anyway, we're bringing on the judge of Lloyd Neal, calming the waters. I like that commercial that he had. We're going to bring him on and put him in the hot seat as well when we come back.
Have you been arrested or are potentially facing criminal charges? You need a trial attorney who is well-versed in the courtroom. Joe Flores has handled hundreds of criminal cases and many of them to trial. Joe Flores can provide you with competent representation to protect your constitutional rights in state and federal court. Joe Flores can help if you have been arrested or facing criminal charges. The law offices of Joe Flores. Equal justice for all. Have you or a loved one suffered a stroke, heart attack, unexplained low blood pressure, or death during dialysis? The FDA has issued warnings and recalled the product Granuflo and Naturalite used in dialysis. At least one national company failed to warn the public that over 900 people had suffered cardiac arrest or death. A condition called metabolic alkalosis developed, which may have caused the harm. Call the law offices of Joe Flores today. With a combined 25 years of experience in the medical field and as a trial lawyer, Joe Flores can help. Call now.
Hi, this is attorney and board-certified nurse practitioner Joe Flores on behalf of Vasquez Flores Home Health. Nursing homes have their place, but having care in your own home is very important. Call today for more information. Backed by over 20 years of experience, registered nurse Priscilla Vasquez can answer your questions about home care. Call 881-9922, that's 881-9922 today.